All right, all right. Well, that was a half of football, boy. Tennessee 44, Kentucky 6. The Kentucky Wildcats didn't score a single point in that second half, and Tennessee just kept laying it on. I wanted Tennessee to get to 50. I wanted it. But they still 44 will do. It'll do. The Tennessee Volunteers just embarrassed Kentucky tonight. That was a work of art. That game could not have gone better if I wanted it to. It was so beautiful. But
did anybody else take a nap in the second half?
Oh, you might as well have.
Just go and get your second win for the evening. Why not? Sorry.
Ain't nothing going on that, you wouldn't miss much outside of just.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
Just more having fun with this football team. I'm Charlie Burris. That is former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton. Thank you so much to everybody rolling in here. We already got like 100 people tuning in. Thank you. We're going to talk about that whole second half. And then now Kentucky's out of the way. There was no look ahead spot. Tennessee's looking ahead to Georgia. Oh, no. They're probably going to look. No. All right. That game's over. We beat the pants off Kentucky. It's over and done with. And so we're going to talk about that college football playoff situation, the Georgia game. We'll talk about it all here in just a second, right after I tell you about our amazing sponsors, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans is a corporate sponsor of the Vols. They've been serving Tennesseans for 75 years. Plan on them for health, dental, vision at fphb.com/ATOZ. Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and type promo code VOLS at checkout to fill your freezer with enough gourmet food to keep your cookouts going strong into the fall. And finally, Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey right there behind me. From Log Still Distillery, make your own luck just like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. Well, what did you see in that second half?
I'm loving these comments, by the way. Everybody, keep them coming. Like I'm just sitting here laughing. You're reading all the I'm just sitting here laughing because of one, how true they are, but they're just funny. They're funny as hell to me right now.
You could tell with his demeanor on the sidelines. Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback, thought he was going to come in here and throw for 400 yards on Tennessee. You could tell. That was the most dejected human being I have seen in my life.
Watch this. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to hype up Tennessee Titan fans, but not just to hype them up. Okay? This is the true fact. If you're supposed to be a top draft pick and you're supposed to be, this blah, 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 all this BS around Will Levis, and once again, I'm not being a hater. I'm being a realist about him. And you're supposed to have these prolific wide receivers that are young and this prolific running back. Not saying they're not good. And you're supposed to be this top-tier draft pick. Then you do what Malik Willis did with lesser talent at Liberty, and you go in and you beat ACC teams. Right? You go to Virginia Tech, and you go to NC State, and you go to these teams and you play them and you beat them with quote-unquote lesser talent, because you as the quarterback are supposed to uplift your team. Get off the Will Levis train and understand he is a combine kid, not a goddamn quarterback. He will not win you a championship. Kentucky, get over it. Stop acting like he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. He's not. Tonight proved it. He had 98 yards and 5 picks, and you're saying he's a first-round pick? Get over yourself. You suck. It's that simple.
Dude.
Sorry, there was my rant for the evening.
That was perfect. I mean, 98 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and all credit.
Two dropped.
Yeah, that's true. It should have been more interceptions.
Twice.
And all the comments here are just saying it like Levis ain't it. Also, huge credit to the secondary in this game. Tons of great plays. Danico Slaughter, great. Wesley Walker, great. Really, Wesley Walker missed a couple tackles early in that game, and then as the game went along, he made some real plays. I mean, what can you say? What can you say?
You know what? No, this is what you can say. You ready? last comment, Chuck, 100%. They ran out of bounds on 4th and 9 at 8 yards. That tells you what Kentucky really is about.
That was the game.
I'm not saying that as a slight, but I'm just calling it like it is. That tells you what their team mentality really is. It's 4th and 9. You're down by what? 38 points or whatever it is, 36, whatever it was. You can end the game with the ball, and you run out of bounds. You dodge out of bounds 1 yard shy, and you weren't even going to really get hit. That right there proves what your team mentality really is.
I said it as I was walking back to go host this show. That was that game distilled down into one play. It was just Kentucky waving the white flag. Like, they went down 21 at the half, and I think they were more than defeated at that point. I mean, it was over.
They were done.
Yeah, literally the first touchdown of the game, that was Tennessee's win right there. They would have won with 7 points. Yeah. I mean, just absolutely humiliating for Kentucky, because this is the first time probably in my entire memory, in my 31 years on this earth, that I can think of where Kentucky and Tennessee played in an actually big game. It's always been like Tennessee's been top 10 team and Kentucky comes in, gets their head beat in. Like, that was my entire childhood. Maybe a couple of games with your, the Pillsbury throw boy, Tim Couch, some of those dudes. But outside of that, like, this is really like they had a chance to make a moment here.
Well, because everybody, Kentucky this, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'm sitting there going, well, Kentucky's got Florida and Tennessee on the road in the same year. It's not easy. And then I'm going, but and we did too. Florida is average. But you come in here with high hopes, once again, and I'm going to keep harping on it, with a top-tier draft pick. Oh, right? The reality is, when you're playing quarterback, you have to have an 8-second memory. Okay? When that play's done, you got 8. Well, in our offense, you got like 2. Right? But I'm just saying, like, you have to have that short-term memory. It's over, move on. The sign of a great quarterback, which Hendon has, C.J. Stroud has, Bryce Young has. All right? There are multiple guys across this country that have this. When things aren't going great, watch what happened. Go back and watch the replay of us playing Alabama. They're down 28-7, right? Or 28-3 or whatever it was. Bryce Young smiling, going, guys, we're good. We're good. It's okay. He gets hit in the mouth.
They were shaking.
Pats his lineman on the back. Hey, man, don't worry about it. We're good. We got this. That's a sign of a leader and a quarterback. When things are not going well is what I want to look at. Right? When things are not going your way, how does the quarterback respond? Well, Levis is, right? That's not a sign that you want, or somebody you want to run your organization. And I'm not being a hater. I'm being a realist here. If you're going to tell me you're going to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on a dude, then you better prove it in a game like this. Our guy proved that tonight. That's the bottom line. Our guy proved that he can be that dude.
Levis has supreme confidence. I mean, I think coming into this game,
when it's going well.
Yeah, that's true. That's where I was going.
When it's going well.
He has supreme confidence when he thinks good things are going to happen, or when good things are happening. As I mentioned, I think he thought he was going to come in here and drop 400 yards on Tennessee like he did last year. He thought this was going to go. And that's what I heard from Kentucky fans all week. I mentioned that in the pregame or in the halftime. I listened to Kentucky media all week, and they were just so like, they thought this was going to be last year. That's what they thought this was going to be. They thought they were going to come in and really give us hell.
They're delusional.
This team don't play that.
You hit the nail on the head. Excuse me, at halftime. They think this is Kentucky basketball of old.
Yeah.
What Stoops has done at Kentucky football is phenomenal, by the way. Not taking that away. I will not take that away. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. What he's done for Kentucky football is really, really good. But the bottom line is, man, you're not a top-tier program. You're not a national powerhouse name. Even when we were down, we're still a national powerhouse name. You see that Power T everywhere. You don't see it UK everywhere. You see UK basketball.
That's true.
You don't see UK football, right? But everywhere you go, same thing with Texas. You still see that Longhorn logo, right? And I would say that, and it hurts me to say it because I'm not a Texas fan. They have a national recognition like we do. Southern Cal, you see that SC logo. You know what it is. Nobody gives a damn about what UK means outside of basketball. That's the facts. And I've said it multiple times. I will go to my grave. Kentucky is Kentucky to me when it comes to football. And I will always believe that.
It was so vindicating in this game. I mean, obviously, you and me are on the exact same page with everything you're saying there. Kentucky couldn't hold our jockstrap in this game.
No.
You just get off of this football field.
But what's this?
How dare you come in here and act like you're in this same stratosphere?
This is a hard question right here that Eric asked us. Did our defense play that good, or is Kentucky's offense that bad? I honestly think our defense made them look that bad tonight. If you go back and watch it, and I always say, like, watch the film or watch the tape of it, watch how our guys moved and set their D-line or their O-lineman up with their pass rush, going hard stem out, foot in the ground underneath, right? It's a combination of both, but that's also, you got to give credit where credit's due to us on defense by saying, we challenged you to beat us in the pass game one-on-one, and you threw 3 picks, should have thrown 5, right? We held you to 107 yards rushing, and you got 25 of those yards on the last drive running the clock out.
Tennessee's defensive line is 100% legit. We try to tell you.
They're getting better every week, and that's all you can ask is each week get 1% better, because that means you didn't get worse. And if we get 1% better each week, that's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, they really laid the smackdown on these boys tonight. And yeah, Kentucky's offensive line, the talk going into this game, that was Kentucky has a weak offensive line, and clearly they do.
And you take advantage of that, and we did. That's what good teams do. You don't play to your level of competition. You make them look bad to your level.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, 100%.
I mean, dude, six points. I mean, Kentucky is not a talented offense. Rodriguez is good. Levis can be fine. But 6 points, like, just calm the hell on. With all of the talk leading up to this game, I just want to unload on every piece of analysis I heard leading up to this game, where they were like, well, can Tennessee's defense hold the what else do you need to know? What do you need to know? 6 points. Come on down. Take your beating. This is real. This here is real.
Hey, can I give myself a shout out right now for the fact of, at this moment, knock on what everyone knock on, the worst we do is 11-1.
Literally, dude. Did you watch that? Did you watch that Missouri South Carolina game?
No, honestly, I did not.
Missouri is coming into Neyland Stadium. You think they're going to beat this football team? Give me a break. It's insulting. Don't insult us like that. Come correct. This team is real. I've done there. We do have to get to.
I love this show.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We do have to get to our first segment of the post-game show. 400 people are watching right now. Every single one of you. We could not appreciate more. Thank you for watching.
Almost there crying.
Everybody that wants to weigh in, give us one word for how you were feeling after laying the wood to the Kentucky Wildcats after they thought they were going to win this game. Just one word, how you're feeling after this game. And I think Crompton's one word might be correct. That's braggadocious, however he's feeling. You did call it 11-1. But just your one word. And this segment is brought to you by the great folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans. If I can get their graphic up here. Farm Bureau Health Plans have been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. Much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, vision for better coverage, better rates, and better service. Go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200 plus locations across the state. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Whoopsie. All righty. Let's go through some of these. One word to describe how you were feeling after that butt whipping the Tennessee just put on. We have so many comments. I gotta go all the way back. Here we go. David says better. Rob's unstoppable. Derek says unstoppable. You say you guys were on the same page there. Nathan ecstatic. Mark says he put a hyphen, so it counts. Natty bound. Dustin says confident. Ashton Kate, I like this one a lot. Yawn. That's right. Kentucky can't hold that jockstrap, baby. This was over before it even started. But let's see. Alex says drunk. Mango says vindicated. Matthew says 98. Charles marvelous. Elias trust. All right. Cromp, one word. How are we feeling?
Balanced. Meaning we ran for more than 150. Just throwing it out there. 245 and 176. And the best part is that is a light night for our offense, right? What are we averaging, like 520-ish, something like that, a game total offense?
We took it easy on these.
Now, obviously, I'm not counting returns in the number, right? In the 245. So 421 of just offense, but like if you count returns for total, I don't know that number off the top of my head. So still 421 with passing and rushing. That is so effective, right? In today's world. And I had some buddies text me going, oh, well, Tennessee's just the new Big 12, high-powered offense, can't stop anybody on defense. The only game that and that's what I'm saying. The only game that was like you can't stop it was Alabama. Well, Alabama's got the reigning Heisman winner. They got a legitimate first-round tailback, right? You got some dudes out wide that are up and coming again. You got a damn good tight end, a great O-line. Like that offense, I'm with you. We'll give up a chunk of yards and points, but so do we. So that one game is really the only one that's like, hey, we gave up a really piss load of points there. Well, a lot of people are going to give up a lot of points to Alabama, right? So at the end of the year, the average is not going to be the Big 12 where it's like you're averaging giving up 42 points, right? So that's where, to me, the offense right now, 421 tonight, passing, rushing, that's why I'm going balanced. That is, for us, if we do that plus return game, it's going to be hard for anybody to match that. We're getting our points regardless.
Scott says satisfied. Victor, unsurprised. Crystal, moving on up to the west side. Dustin says horny. It's a wild show already.
Where was that? Where was that one after the Alabama when we were like, hey, there's going to be a lot of babies made now?
Yeah. A lot of people were feeling that one after the Alabama.
You know what I mean? Like nobody wanted to say it.
Zach says respected. Eric focused. Steve says toxic. Oh,
interesting.
I kind of feel.
Look at his profile picture though. Shooter McGavin.
That's true. But I sort of feel that's been the line out of like every other fan base right now. They're like, oh no, Tennessee can't be good. This is the Tennessee fan base. We are toxic to other fan bases.
So I love the SEC
awesome.
Shorts this year. They're phenomenal.
It's been so good.
The nation does not want our fan base to be back like we are.
They hate it so much. It's amazing.
It's amazing to me.
Nick says business. I was thinking about this, and I think my one word is just real. Like this has just felt unreal up to this point. I had to process going through Alabama. You know, it was a dream. Like we all were in here. I was on this show shirtless with a cigar in my mouth, acting a fool. And we all, it took us a week to just come down off of cloud 9. And I'm still going back and watching clips of that game. I mean, good Lord. But this game to me is what solidified in my mind. Like, this isn't going to be some, oh, this is fluky and you might blow it against but this here is real. We're talking like, you know, I saw some Kentucky fans during this game. This is a good example for what I'm talking about. I saw a Kentucky fan during this game that I follow. I'm friends with some, and they said, credit to Tennessee. They are the real deal, and it's something to the effect of like, we just aren't on the same level. Like, well, just sort of admit it.
And what do I always say? You got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
And on this show, we're not ashamed to do that. And you have to have an unbiased opinion in a lot of ways, even as a fan, to say, we just got our ass kicked tonight. There's no way about it. Right? And so I give them credit for admitting that. They're not on our level right now. And it's impressive that we're only in year 2.
I know. I said, if Tennessee finishes this out 12-0, 11-1, and makes the playoff, makes New Year's 6 game, if you're a South Carolina fan, if you're a Kentucky fan, sitting there and looking at Tennessee in year 2, you have to just you got to be despondent.
Even more so South Carolina, because you're in the same year as we are.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like they were, Heupel and Beamer were co-SEC coaches of the year last year.
You're putting on sunglasses and dancing, and we're just recruiting and beating your ass.
We're just beating.
There's no other nice way of saying that. Like,
they lost to Missouri today. They lost to Missouri at home, in South Carolina.
You ready? You know why? Their staff, not the whole staff, it starts from the top down, is not letting them a second rule, right? You go beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M's not that good this year. Just throwing it out there. No. And they're on the high. They don't let it go. You got to let it go. We let it go. You can tell that. Our staff preaches it. Man, it's done. Celebrate tonight. We're done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is. South Carolina is not used to that. And it carried over, and they lose to Missouri, which they should have beat. Like, if you look on paper, they should beat Missouri. We'll say it that way. That's why. South Carolina is not on the same level. South Carolina is South Carolina to me. Like Kentucky. South Carolina in baseball, you go, okay, I'll give you that. You've got history. I'll give you that. Football, you're like, if it weren't for Spurrier, it would be even worse. You know, that type of stuff. So I can understand why they lost. It starts from the top, and Heupel does a great job of preaching. It's done. We got bigger fish to fry. We're on to the next. We have something to prove. And it's showing that he has that mindset. It is.
Well, we do want to get to the Georgia talk, to the college football playoff talk, because when we do the show next during the Georgia game, the college football playoff first rankings will have been released. Tennessee will be in them. I can't believe I'm saying that. So awesome, dude. Tennessee will be in the initial college football rankings for this season. But before we do that, we got to get to our final sponsored segment here. Although I there's plenty to choose from for this segment. I'll say that. That's going to be the stat of the game, brought to you by Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. It's nice and crispy cool outside. It was a beautiful weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee last night, today. And it just, is it not just all the more beautiful now that Tennessee whooped up on Kentucky? And what goes better with a crispy East Tennessee night than whiskey, and not just any whiskey? This here, Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. And I said, I had my 8-year Rattle and Snap up here, which is an incredible bottle of whiskey. And Tennessee laid the wood to Kentucky. And I said, Kentucky doesn't deserve for me to drink the 8-year in celebration. They don't deserve it. This was all business.
You ain't right.
I'm not going to waste this amazing bottle of whiskey on the freaking Wildcats. So I went and got the 4-year, which is also excellent and an awesome bottle of whiskey. And so we're going to drink that right now. But I do have to tell you, just because I'm contractually obligated, Lockstill Distillery is releasing a new Tennessee whiskey product line, Rattle and Snap. Tennessee whiskey, named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those that make their own luck. Look out for Rattle and Snap whiskey at your local liquor stores and follow them on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. They're available in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Mississippi. 4-year, 8-year bottle. Go get it there. And now, hold on. I got to get my glass, and then we can get down here. But Crump, while I do this, your stat of the game.
205. Just 205. 205 yards total for Kentucky. And it was, and like we talked about before we went on, the pride in me hurt so much that Kentucky was gutless enough just to run the ball out to get over 200 yards on that last drive. That pisses me off. That's so, it just, oh my God. To hold a team to under 200 yards total in a game in the SEC is, especially somebody that's supposed to be ranked. I don't know. That's just, so 205. Great job defense tonight. Just outstanding job.
Absolutely phenomenal. All those turnovers. I mean, it really was an impressive effort from those boys. And we tried to tell you that defensive line is the real deal. I think I got to go on this one because the man every week so far just deserves all the credit. 14, I think, is the one I got to go with. And that is the amount of touchdowns that Jalen Hyatt has scored this season. And he broke the Tennessee all-time single-season touchdown record for a wide receiver with that 14. He tied it with the 13th, then he scored a second one, and he broke the record there. So you just got to give it up to him. The dude is having the season of a lifetime. In a season that's on an entire other level, he broke this record with 5 games remaining in the season. How? Just unreal. Seriously unreal. Well, I guess this is four games remaining, but regardless, when he did it, there was an entire half of the Kentucky game still. And what more can you say? He did go down. I will say
it was just a little stinger.
It was a little stinger.
The way he was moving his hands, nothing.
Thank God. Yeah, he hit his funny bone, whatever.
Yeah.
The entire room. I mean, there's 15 people in my house right now. The entire room was silent when Jalen Hyatt went down. We were just, oh, no. Please, anyone but Jalen.
98% of the state was like,
yeah, went into pucker mode real quick. But it does appear that he was okay. He made a nice catch later in the game for a big play, so he's all right. But just got to give it up to Jalen. And with that said, let's move on for the second half of the show and talk about.
Are we doing for the win?
Oh, that's right. And now to finish off the Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey segment, whiskey for the win.
Cheers, everybody.
Let's go. Tastes so good when it comes with.
And just in case you're wondering, in this household, we don't do singles.
Absolutely not.
Just
absolutely not.
Hold on, real quick, if you don't mind. I got to answer a question that I saw. I got to scroll back up real quick.
Okay.
And it asked, "How would I have liked to run this offense?" I'm kind of talking on this before, but
that's a great question.
But I'm going to answer it in the most positive way I can in this sense. As a player, I would have freaking loved it because you get to be yourself. So as an offensive coordinator at the high school I'm at, we were 9-0 versus 9-0 last night, okay, for the conference championship. I take pride in the system that I call. It'll make sense in a second, I swear. I expect my players to know a lot and learn a lot, but that is on this person to teach that information. 2 years in the making to do this, in high school football, you get a running clock if you're up 42 points. So we get a running clock in the third quarter.
Ooh.
For the conference championship run one play in the fourth quarter and still ran 50 plays with 12-minute quarters, by the way. So what I'm saying is I would have loved to have ran it so much that I run a version of it for what I want to do, but I do a boatload of formations. Like every play, I'm in a different formation because to me, you can out-scheme somebody if you know what you're doing. Hence, what Josh Heupel is doing. He is out-scheming people because he is smarter than them. When it comes to football of, if I'm getting XYZ coverage, you can't cover blah, 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 blah. So if I put this guy and this guy, notice what we do, certain formations, we just go ahead and move. Oh, we just swapped Hyatt after a freeze play. Put him here because we see matchups. So I'm saying I would have loved to have run it so much that I do a version of it for me, but I do a lot of formations.
So what you're saying, Crompton, what I'm hearing there is that when Alex Golish takes a head coaching job, maybe during this offseason, God forbid, but let's be honest here.
He's going to have opportunities. That's for sure.
So next OC for the Tennessee Volunteers, Jonathan Crompton, right?
No. I enjoy what I'm doing a lot, man. It's fun being able to help the youth of the game understand football. Wins and losses, man, that stuff happens. The win is just icing on the cake. But watching the development of the younger generation is so enjoyable. Like I'm talking about just when you see that moment in there, it's like the light bulb goes off and they're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And things start to click. That's what's fun. And I genuinely enjoy doing that at this level.
Well, that's great. Clearly you are succeeding. But to go from there,
it's not me. They're paying attention. It ain't. You can only give them so much. They got to do the rest, and they've done a tremendous job of studying and doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, from there, let's go to. Trying to think of what to go first. Let's just talk about the college football playoff first, I guess.
Okay.
First rankings are coming out November 1st, which I believe would be what, Tuesday?
Tuesday. My niece's birthday, actually.
Well, happy birthday to her. And what an amazing birthday present. The Tennessee Volunteers will be in the initial rankings. Does Tennessee hop Ohio State here with the style points?
And Georgia.
And Georgia, you think?
You ready? I've got my proof. You ready?
Go ahead.
At the beginning, it didn't look so good. Now it looks good. Oregon. That was a good win now. I give it. Samford. We just talked about South Carolina. Just throwing that out there. Kent State. Missouri. Auburn. Vanderbilt. See where I'm going? That's their schedule so far. They almost lost to Missouri. Vandy's Vandy. Auburn is trash. Kent State's Kent State. South Carolina obviously is not very good at all. Samford. So the only two teams they've actually played, Oregon and Florida. And Florida seems, after our loss, has really seemed to went downhill.
Yeah.
So if you look at resume, there's no way we cannot be number one. But if we're not, it's because of preseason rankings only, and that's why the preseason rankings are trash. It's just what it is.
I will respond to this, but this comment's hilarious. You can't spell suck without SC and UK.
I love that comment. Sorry.
It's a great comment. Thank you, Mark.
Mark, you know what? Virtual high five, bud. That's all I'm going to say.
That was excellent.
I think Ohio State obviously is deserving, but once again, if you look at resume, we're the only team in the country to, what is it, 5 ranked teams now when we've played them? Now, obviously, I understand things happen in between, but when you play them, that's what helps Ohio State is when they played Notre Dame, they were number 5, right? So we'll give Notre Dame that. I mean, Ohio State with that Notre Dame win, that means there's only 2 ranked teams they played. We played 5.
I mean,
That's the only reason why I say, like, I think that gives us the edge for this week only. Regardless, we do what we're supposed to do next week, and we're guaranteed number one.
But I mean, if you beat Georgia, there's no question. There could literally, unless these people are just, out in left field mentally. I mean, I don't know. But there is no one in America with a better resume than the Tennessee Volunteers. There is not one.
Not even close.
Who could, at this point, who could actually argue otherwise?
No, right here. Watch this. Mark backed me up here. We beat number 3, 13, 17, 19, 25.
It's insane. And out of the currently ranked teams, you've beaten 3 of the currently ranked.
Yeah.
LSU is currently ranked, Kentucky's currently ranked, and Alabama.
And I had to retract my statements about LSU. They proved me wrong.
They don't stink as bad as. Yeah, they don't stink
that bad. That just tells you how good we played, apparently, because I was like, dude, they're awful. Now it's like, ooh, hold on. Maybe I need to retract that a little bit. Maybe they're not there, but maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going, ooh, we don't want to see LSU. Right? But when we played them, I was like, man, they're bad. But maybe we just made them look that bad.
I just look at it and I just say, if the people making these rankings are genuinely honest with themselves, Tennessee is the number 1 team. I don't know how do you rationalize otherwise? Yes, Ohio State has more talent, but they also got worked by Penn State for 3.5 quarters today.
But and Jeff, I'm sorry if you're listening, because I don't mean this as a slight towards Ohio State, but facts are facts. The reason why, like, if all this stuff really happens with, Big Ten, SEC, the alliance against the SEC, Ohio State is Ohio State because they play in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is literally Ohio State and Michigan. Now, hey, that game, I've never been to one, but I've heard is electric. Right? I truly have heard that is an electric game. On my bucket list. Right? I would love to go watch one. But what I'm getting at is they don't have the year in, year out Florida, Georgia, Bama, a normal Auburn when they have an actual SEC coach, not what they have now. Keyword normal. Why they did what they did 2 years ago is beyond me. Right? They should never have fired. But they did. But you know what I'm saying? Like that. Then when Arkansas comes around, you're like, oh, crap, where'd they come from? Then you get Mississippi State, and you're like, where in the hell did they come from? Oh, Ole Miss. Oh, my God, they're a powerhouse. The Big Ten doesn't have that consistently. They have Ohio State and Michigan. That's what hurts Ohio State in these arguments. You know what I mean? Like Ohio State's talent, you can't argue with. You can't. They just unload receivers and like, oh, by the way, we got dudes that are better. No big deal. You can't argue that. But you can argue their schedule and their resume. And it's always going to be that way against Ohio State and or Michigan.
I just know, I agree with everything you said there. And I just know that, like, if these people don't put Tennessee at number 1, it is purely brand bias. You cannot, like, you take the logo off of all of these teams and you set a piece of paper down with each of their resumes and you go, this is who they've all beaten. And those are the scores of all the games. Who's number 1? Nobody is choosing anyone other than Tennessee in this scenario. Give me a break.
You cannot
say otherwise. You cannot.
You know why I also think that we might, or not might, but we should. I don't know if we will because of preseason rankings, but another reason is if you look at our point spread all year, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I can guarantee you it's higher than Georgia, and that's including with Bama, and they played Missouri and we played Bama. You see what I'm getting at?
I mean,
they've already played Missouri, they've already played Vandy, they've already played South Carolina.
Yeah.
We haven't yet. That's the beauty of that. We haven't played those 3 teams yet. You've already played them. They still got to play the other ones. Now, hey, Florida is Florida, right? I get it. Couple points, not a big margin of victory for us, a little bigger for them. But the bottom line is when we played them, they were a little more high on themselves than they are now.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's football. But when you go, and I want to know, I would be curious, what is the definition of strength of record versus strength of schedule. Okay.
I've seen that.
I'm asking that legitimately. Like, what is the actual definition of strength of record? Because strength of record, we're number one. I don't know what the hell that means. Like, honestly, I know what strength of schedule means. What does strength of record mean? I'm assuming it means that our record is undefeated and we played 5 top 25 teams. I would assume, keyword assume. We all know what that stands for, though. All right. That would have something to do with it. And if it does, that makes a lot of sense, which once again, if you look at numbers, and this is not a bias towards us, but if you look at the numbers, that's why we should be ranked number one.
Exactly.
But next week is determining it all. And also what I think, regardless of the outcome, us or Georgia does not drop out of the top 4 the following week. I just think the loser drops to 4.
Just think about the gauntlet that is this schedule that Tennessee has played. I mean, it's why I almost like I'm playing it up because we're on a show. Like when I was talking earlier, like Kentucky can't hold this jock. How dare they insult us by walking onto this football field? Seriously, though.
It's just funny.
Like, think about this gauntlet that Tennessee, if they beat Georgia next week, you will have beaten the number 1 team. I guess at that point, Alabama will probably be back up to number 3, 4. And it was at the time they were number 3. You will have beaten 4 more top 25 teams at that point. And it's because you play in the SEC. You will have the best record in the best league in football. And like, if Tennessee had Ohio State's schedule, they would have won in the exact same way that Ohio State has.
Well, 100%. And here's the thing. And I can play the other side by going, well, you can't help who you play. And you can't.
You can't.
You can't genuinely help it. And you cannot predict 5, 6, 7 years from now what said team's record is going to be. But if you just look at the history of it, it's not really been that great in the Big Ten outside of Ohio State and Michigan. Penn State, oddball, right? And I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Screw it. We do what we're supposed to do, and we take care of business this week, which I think we can. The biggest matchup is their tight ends versus our linebackers.
Oh, yeah.
That's the matchup to watch.
Powers is a monster.
But they got to stop our offense. We screw around and do what we're supposed to do. Keyword supposed to, not what we can, what we're supposed to do, and win this game. We go 12-0, and we're guaranteed in the playoffs regardless of Atlanta. Any SEC team that's 12-0, regardless of Atlanta's in. That's history.
Period. I mean,
and Clint said, okay, are you taking Tennessee plus 12 versus Georgia? Yes.
Is that really the line? Is it?
I don't
12?
know, but if that's the line, 100% I'd take that line.
Plus 12?
I don't know if that's actually the line. I'm just reading the comment, but you damn right I'd take that line.
Put some respect on this name. How dare they?
Because Vegas ain't dumb. Vegas is gonna make money. They ain't stupid.
Plus
I don't know what the
12.
line is. I have no idea.
Oh, Tevon says the one I saw is plus 10.5. That's
way too high.
I was thinking touchdown. I was thinking 7.
I was thinking 3.
3?
Maybe
defense pretty good.
3.5 to 4.5 because of our offense. Georgia is going to have a struggle stopping what we do. Now, I'm not going to say we're not going to struggle stopping their stuff because they got 3, and if you count their true freshman number 4 tight end, they got 4 legitimate dudes at tight end, and you're going, ooh, damn.
Yeah,
ooh, Bowers. If he was draft eligible, would be the first tight end drafted, but he's not draft eligible.
That guy can come down and play for the Titans.
Really, really good. Bowers is light years better than that guy because he can play wide receiver. And that's not a slight on Notre Dame kid. That kid, I would take the dude from Notre Dame any day of the week. But Bowers is just that guy.
Yeah.
And he'll be the first tight end, maybe / receiver drafted next year.
Easily.
You know, and then you got Washington. You're like, damn, this dude kind of a freak himself. You know what I mean? Like, so that's going to be the matchup to watch. Our tight ends / DBs versus their tight ends.
Well, let's talk about it because, as you said, I mean, I think that game, that's the season right there.
That game solidifies who's in, us or Georgia. And
you are essentially guaranteed the playoff, and obviously you are guaranteed the SEC championship game.
Well, as long as you don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, right? I mean, you can't lose at South Carolina, but if you beat Georgia, I mean, good Lord.
After us, I'm looking. Georgia's got Mississippi State, Kentucky, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they're winning out.
Mississippi State's the one I'm worried about, but it's which Mississippi State team shows up.
Yeah.
Are they showing up that they're flawless, or are they showing up that they're going 2 of 30 throwing the ball? I don't know. But whoever wins our game, I genuinely think goes 12-0. The other goes 11-1. The 11-1 has to root for the East to beat the West in the play in Atlanta to get in the playoff. You cannot have Bama win if you want 2 East teams in. You can't. So it's going to be very hard for the loser of next week to root for the winner of next week in Atlanta. But you got to root for them. That's the way to end. And I do want to say, though, I did call last week that hypothetically, it's not going to happen at the end of the year. Not going to happen. But you're going to have Tennessee, Georgia, or Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio State, Michigan. There's your top 4. Big Ten SEC. Called it.
That's going to be top 4 tomorrow.
Well, it's going to happen that way. It really is. It's not going to end that. It's not going to end that way. It's not going to end that way. We get it. But Clemson won't be there, and Bama won't be there, and TCU will not be there for Tuesday. To me, it'll legit be Tennessee, Georgia, either way, Ohio State, Michigan is what I think.
Well, let's go from there and have you predict this Georgia game, because you preseason you said 11-1, and if I'm remembering correctly, you actually said win over Georgia, lost to Alabama.
I said the Alabama loss would be by field goal. I was just wrong on which way it went.
Yeah, you flipped it.
I did. I'm staying with the win versus Georgia. Screw it. I'm riding with Heupel. Like, with how he does things, I don't care. People can call me a homer. I'm looking at statistical analysis of what we do.
How does it happen? Explain how you think the game goes.
Truly? I think
I genuinely their defense is legit.
I think early it's back and forth shootout. I think the 2 X factors are the matchup of our linebacker and secondary versus their tight end, not necessarily receivers, but tight ends. Because remember, they lost Burton to Bama. And then I think Hendon versus the mailman, or whatever they call him. Right? Isn't that his nickname, the mailman? No, legit.
It might be. That's funny.
Years on him that coming out of high school, he'd go to camps and wear like a USPS Postal Service hat, and he got the nickname the mailman. I don't know. Just sure. It sounds good in the moment, okay? But legit, that's what they said. I don't know if it's real, but I'm going to use it. Okay, so Hendon versus him, and I think he's more calm, cool, and collected. Personally, and I think it's back and forth early. I think it's a shootout till about early 4th, and then I think we take a grasp on it and get about a 10-point lead, and I'm going to call a 47-40 win.
47-40. It does feel like, to me, it's going to have to be close to 50 again. Said that for the Alabama game. You're going to have to score 50 to beat them.
And which makes sense when you're playing a number 1 or number 2, depending on how they do it, team.
That offense, and particularly the way that I think they'll be able to move the ball with Bowers, they just strike a weakness in Tennessee there with Bowers. I mean, that is a weakness for that offense, period, or for that defense. Sorry, period. It just is. I think it's going to have to be another 50-pointer. I'll give my full prediction on the Big Orange podcast on Monday. Tune in there, right wherever you're watching this. Come right back Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Zach Reagan, on here, and we'll give our full prediction for that game, just like Cromp just did. But Okay, so you said 47.
47 to 40. What I really
Touchdown
think
win?
will happen, if you want me to get detailed, I can say, and now, once again, I could be way off. I think it's 47-37. I think they kick a field goal to go onside kick to try to score, and we get the onside kick.
That's what James Franklin did today. He played for a field goal and then
Which is that's the smartest play, because you got it. You have to like guarantee yourself the points. You know what I'm saying?
he ended up getting his ass handed to him after. But
yeah, because they're not. Listen, James Franklin is also. I don't know if it's supposed to have been quoted like on air or not, but it's came out before that he's told his coaches, "You're not here to develop. You're here to recruit." That's no wonder why your guys suck once they get there. Makes sense.
all right,
I'll just
there
call
you
like
go.
I don't care. I just call it like it is.
Crompton's calling it, and the man has been right all season. Okay, so there you go. Anything else?
Yes, no, I completely blanked on the Brew McCoy comment at halftime about do I think he'll be back?
Right.
I do. I genuinely do. And it made me very, very, very happy and satisfied that they targeted him 4 times in the second half. So he went for 6 for 54 to extend a few drives. I think he can also be an X factor down the road. Not necessarily next week, but down the road. I was honestly, I know why they didn't, because you're setting people up down the road. But if you go back and watch that game just now, especially in the second half, like late third, Kentucky is leaving him one-on-one backside, about 1.5 yards to 2 yards inside leverage on the corner, one-on-one. And I'm going, throw him the ball. Give him a double move, little nod in and go, run a speed out, run a 10-yard out, run a comeback. And then I'm going, well, actually, you know what? Don't. Because let Georgia think we're not going to throw him the ball. Let Missouri, let South Carolina, let Benny think we're not going to throw him the ball. Right? Let's lean towards Hyatt and Tillman and all those guys and run the ball with Small. And then let's leave him backside right now and going, disrespect him with that hard inside leverage. And then let's come back in the big game moment when we need it and let's dominate you. Because they can't cover that. And I'm sitting there going the whole time going, oh my God. But then I'm thinking as the coach going, set them up later. Set them up later. So don't be surprised if in the next couple of weeks you start seeing Brew get one-on-one matchups backside, because we showed tonight we wouldn't throw him the ball unless we were in a 2-by-2 set. So 2 receivers, 2 receivers. When we go 3 receivers, 1 receiver, and he's over here, they're leaving him one-on-one and disrespecting him with the leverage. You win your route by leverage. Okay? So don't be surprised if we use that to our advantage in the next few weeks. And so I as I'm watching the game, I analyze and I'm going, what would I do? And I literally text myself formations and plays about how to attack certain coverages. Like, I'm weird, man. I'm weird.
That's why you're good, I think.
I can't help it. Like, everybody's like, I'm getting texts and I'm doing this and I'm going, hold on. Text myself formation and play, and then I'll send it and I get the notification myself.
Probably why your team is 10-0. So,
well, no, they're 10-0 because they're the ones making the plays.
Well, that's true.
You can call it all day long. You can put them in the right position. They've got to make the plays, and they have done a tremendous job. My quarterback's going to Gardner-Webb next year. Our number 1 leading receiver's got about 1,100 yards receiving, 20 touchdowns as a junior. Our second leading receiver's got like 700 yards receiving. He's a junior and is a route runner connoisseur.
Has he heard from Tennessee?
And so the guys have done tremendous in that sense. And you can tell them all day long what to do, but if you can't teach them why they need to do it, then it's just words. They've done a great job.
I preach it all the time to people that ever ask me about this show. I always go, if you want the best analysis of what Josh Heupel is doing right now, in terms of like actual breaking it down, X's and O's, the real deal, there's nobody better in the game right now than yourself.
Well, I appreciate that.
I really
genuinely do. I can talk about this stuff all day. I told my wife tonight at the grocery store. We were in Lowe's at the time. I genuinely enjoy her dealing with me talking about football 24/7. Like just random stuff. But she takes it and listens and is learning the game as well. And that's fun for me because, man, I enjoy the crap out of this because it's not about, and the past is the past for everybody. I genuinely enjoy helping the youth and the young people in this game. And I'm not the smartest person in the world. I can promise you that. But I was smart enough to learn from people smarter than me in this game, to take notes, write it down, because then you can remember it. And that's where I try to pass along, even to younger coaches. I try to pass along just random tidbits that were passed along to me that I didn't make up. I didn't invent it. But how do you do it? So I enjoy it, and it's breaking it down of why Will Levis cannot read cover 2, for instance. And then, once again, I'm just being a realist. Is it his fault? Not necessarily. You know, the interception, the first interception in second half. I'll say this real fast, and then I'll let everybody go. They run a great cover 2 beater, a deep 12-yard sit down over the ball, right over the ball, because the linebackers are doing this, so that's a great spot. They take the backside receiver and run a corner stop. It's a great combination, but they left nobody running into the flat to make the corner come down, so he throws a pick to the corner. That's your coach's fault. There's no other way of saying that. Great concept, but you didn't finish the concept of putting somebody in the flat to help your quarterback. That is your fault. It's no other way. Now, should he have thrown it? No. But he can't make the coach put somebody in the flat to make the corner stay down. And cover 2 is so simple to attack. Kentucky doesn't know what they're doing offensively. They don't. And I'm trying to be as nice as I can be about it. But that's as nice as I can be about it. Offensively, I don't think they know their identity.
Speak to this before we go.
Cool.
Let's see. Where was it? I lost it in the...
Man, I love these comments, by the way. Everybody, there's a lot of great questions that I'm sorry if I do miss.
Yeah, just this one, just because
don't feel like you can't bring up stuff next week from this week. I'll answer everything I can.
Yeah, we're just running up on an hour now, but Cody says, was the secondary just developing, or is Will Levis that bad? Since you're on the topic. Because the secondary, that's the best they've looked all season.
Oh, 100% it is. I also think that it goes to really good coaching and preparing our secondary to say, hey, here's his tendencies. He can't get to a second read. Now, is that his fault? Yes, but also no, because the coaches have to develop him to learn how to get to a second read. So it was really, really, really good credit to our secondary of playing how we're supposed to play, taking our coaching and understanding their tendencies and using them to our advantage. Be at the right place at the right time. Trust your coach, trust your system, trust your technique. So is that when I'm teaching receivers, I'll tell them, like, if we're running a double move, so to speak, I'll tell my quarterback, you got to beat, I'll just say, like, the safety here. You beat the safety, he wins by his route. He's one-on-one, you're one-on-one. If we just watch him run the route, we've hurt him by taking our guy over the top. So you got to trust him to know his technique. You got to trust him to do his technique properly. Win your route. So if you're running a double move, selling it wins it. If it's an out and up, you have to sell your out for 3 steps. Make that defender believe it. You have to be an actor, right? So on the defensive side, if we're playing cover 2 and we're playing a bluff cover 2, essentially, you have to make them believe that it's cover 4 or cover 3, that you're rolling to the middle or you're going to go vertical down the hash rather than off the hash. Selling it wins it, right? You got to know your responsibility and your technique, but you got to bluff them. And that's where our guys did a tremendous job tonight. They sold it, and they bluffed it, and they executed it to perfection tonight.
But
And I think that's going to help next week because we have to make him prove that he can read a defense and not count on a 6'7" tight end or a really good tight end and Bowers being a number 1 draft pick next year. Make him beat us. Stop the run and make the mailman beat us. And I think we win this ball game by 7 points.
Hopefully they can do the same against the mailman. That's all I'll say, or whatever Stetson Bennett's nickname
I
is.
swear to God, I heard that last year that they did the thing. They called him the mailman. They had, I'll find the picture. I'll send you the picture I'm stalling real quick. Hold on. Stetson Bennett.
I do feel like I've heard that.
Mailman. Hold on. Images.
Oh, and
there it is.
Oh.
Yes. The mailman.
Crompton's never wrong. Stetson is the mailman. I
definitely am a lot.
Let's hit this fight. This is it right here. But I'm just interested. Crompton, can you explain why Athens is so easy to play in as an opposing team? Asks Ben Hall.
I meant to comment on that earlier. I've been vocal about that earlier this year about how I legitimately I fell asleep in a recruiting visit against South Carolina at Georgia. It was the only time I've ever fell asleep in a game. We had a night game the night before, obviously Friday nights. It was a tough game. Me and my dad and a teammate of mine, his name was Chris Bryant, went down to the game, and I fell asleep in the stadium. I pretty much knew I wasn't going to Georgia at that moment. Like, no offense, but I took a nap during your game. All right. It's just not that intimidating. Like, I know they hold, 88, 90,000, whatever it is. There's just something about outside of the student section. It feels like UNC where it's like wine and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, you go play at North Carolina and you're like, okay. Right? Legit.
I completely know what you're saying when you say that.
This is a true story. I'm on a recruiting visit to North Carolina. People might remember the running back named Tony Baker. He was my class, number 1 running back in the state of North Carolina. Ended up going to NC State. Tremendous tailback. Injury plagued over his career at NC State. We're sitting there. It's me and my parents, and him and his parents sitting beside each other. They're playing Arizona State. Okay. Arizona State was ranked 25th at the time. Andrew Walter was a quarterback. Carolina's beating them. And we're going, this is not supposed to happen. Arizona State's pretty good this year, blah, blah, blah. About midway third quarter, they come over the loudspeaker and goes, hey, by the way, blue-white scrimmage, 20,000 people dipped. We're like, I'm here, Tony's here. And we look at each other and go, we're not coming here.
Wow.
That's what Georgia feels like. It's like a student section, and then it's like wine and cheese. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not intimidating. It gets loud, but it's not Alabama. It's not Auburn loud, right? It's not Florida loud. Florida obviously is fake loud because they pump in music, and they had to admit it this year. But it's not Arkansas loud when they're good. It's just an average atmosphere, genuinely. And it's sure as hell not Neyland.
And that's coming from a man who, in his last season at Tennessee, beat the absolute crap out of Georgia. What was the final score of that game? I was at that game.
I don't remember that type of stuff. I genuinely, I have no idea.
Dude, I don't think I've ever said this to you. Genuine moment here. I was at that game in 2009. I was with a friend of mine. And it was actually a friend of mine who's since passed away, God rest his soul. And we sat in the middle of the Georgia section. We scalped a ticket to get in.
Nice.
And sat in the middle of the Georgia section. And pregame, this grown man barked in my face that was sitting next to us. And then you went out there and beat the ever-living crap out of him. And I am forever thankful for that. Because it was so fun.
We did everything wristbands. Some teams still do it, like Kentucky still does it. They'd signal in, blah, 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 and you look at your wristband and go, okay, here's the play. It was funny as hell. Like, there was a couple of plays they called in, and I was like, called something else. I saw another signal. I don't know. It was funny. It was funny as hell. Like, and so Kiffin after the game, he goes, hey, why didn't you call blah, 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 blah? What are you talking about? Huh? Like, what are you talking about? It was funny because it was probably about 6 or 7 plays that I just didn't call. I was like, I don't want that, And
whatever you did, it
now
worked.
Nowadays you can't do that as much because you can't. It's not on wristbands or in pro. It's in the helmet, and you can just go like they didn't hear you. Didn't hear them. They can't tell you your headset went out. Now it's all signaled, and it's a little harder to hide that way. But it was funny, and he was so mad. But he was like, "You're lucky it worked." I'm like, yes, yes, because I blatantly disrespected your play call.
Like, you gave me great joy that day. Just since I got to, I should have barked right back in that guy's face, but.
See, look right here. John Foster says it. I'm a UGA fan, and I know what you're talking about. We have a lot of fans that just sit down and look at you weird if you're standing up and yelling throughout the game. And I don't mean that negatively. That's just the feeling I got for the games that I've went to Georgia. It was just an okay atmosphere. Now, then again, when we were playing them, they weren't number one in the country, right? So I don't know that experience. I just go off of what I know. But it doesn't seem like it's ever really been a crazy place to play. Alabama is loud as hell, right? Auburn, oddly enough, very loud. Florida, it's loud. It's like fake loud because they pump it in, but it's loud. Arkansas, loud. LSU is LSU, right? It's loud. Neyland is Neyland. Sanford Stadium is just, I would say probably like middle second, third, I guess you would say, of SEC of like places you would say that would be intimidating behind. Like, obviously it's better than Vandy, all right, Mississippi State, Missouri. South Carolina is fake loud because they pump in that stupid music. But other than that, I would say it's probably like 9 or 10. Truly.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears, Cromp, you're calling a win, 47-40. Yep. It's almost midnight, so
I've had a long day. I'm gonna go
drink more whiskey. I think
I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
There's still a bunch of people at my house, so we're
entertain, enjoy it, enjoy this win. No win comes easy in football, right? Especially against ranked teams. Go enjoy it, everybody. Thank you for watching. We genuinely enjoyed the comments. Like I said, I know the ones that we can't get to. I'm sorry. Don't just keep commenting. I promise you, when we see it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, there's so many comments. All of the shows that we've been doing.
Right, this one. Sorry. Somebody asked about how I keep this hoodie orange. Man, I have no idea. I just watched it. My wife is tremendous with this stuff. I got no idea.
All credit to Mrs.
She takes care of me. I promise you. If it weren't for her, honestly, I'd be lost.
But thank you to everybody who's watching. I mean, every show has blown up this season. You guys are too good to us. Again, Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Zach Reagan, will be back elaborating on what we just watched in Kentucky and previewing the Georgia game and everything else that's going on with Tennessee. Might talk about the Jalen McCullough situation. He ended up playing in this game. That's it. Charlie Burris, former Vols quarterback, Jonathan Crompton. That's all we got for you. Thank you again for watching, and we will talk to y'all at halftime of the Georgia game.